As the world's biggest sporting event unfolded, the Super Bowl VI halftime show became more than performance. It became a flashpoint in a broader cultural conversation. At the center of that conversation was Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny, whose highly anticipated performance was met not only with praise from millions of fans, but also sharp criticism from prominent public figures, most notably influencer, boxer, and internet personality Jake Paul. In the hours leading up to the halftime show, Paul's comments helped fuel controversy, casting the performance as a symbol of deeper debates about identity, belonging, and what it means to represent a nation on a global stage. Jake Paul's criticism was direct and uncompromising. In social media posts shared just hours before Bad Bunny took the Super Bowl stage, Paul called on viewers to boycott the halftime show entirely. Rather than urging fans to enjoy one of the world's most watched musical moments, he encouraged them to purposefully turn off the halftime show in protest. His message was not framed around musical taste or performance style. It was a broader cultural statement. Paul characterized Bad Bunny as a fake American citizen who he claimed publicly hates America, imploring his followers to use their viewing power as leverage against what he depicted as corporate decision-making. Paul's commentary tapped into a larger undercurrent of controversy that had been simmering around the choice of Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl's headlining artist. Bad Bunny, a Puerto Rican musician whose real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, has long been celebrated for his global impact and ability to bring Spanish-language music into mainstream pop culture. His Super Bowl performance marked a historic milestone. He became the first solo Latin artist to headline the event's halftime show. For many fans, this was a moment of pride, a testament to generational change in music, representation, and cultural reach. For others, it became a moment of reckoning, a chance to express unease about the shifting face of American musical identity. Paul's push for a boycott drew on exactly that tension. In his wording, he emphasized the collective power of viewers, saying that audiences benefit corporate interests whenever they tune in, and by withholding viewership they could send a message about corporate influence and artistic choices. "You are their benefit," he wrote, urging people to recognize their power and act accordingly by turning away from a broadcast. The statements were not limited to abstract critique. Paul linked his boycott call to broader sentiments about law enforcement and national values. He accused Bad Bunny of publicly opposing certain U.S. policies and institutions, comments that had surfaced earlier, when Bad Bunny had made statements about issues like immigration enforcement at award shows. To Paul, this opposition was incompatible with performing at an event that symbolizes American unity and spectacle. Those assertions inflamed debates about patriotism and cultural representation, and Paul's language, labeling the artist a fake American, underscored how polarized the reaction had become. Paul's outspoken stance added complexity to the narrative already unfolding around Bad Bunny's performance. It was not just about music, it was about how a cultural moment can become a battleground for broader ideological clashes. Other conservative voices in public life echoed similar concerns, choosing to voice disapproval or disengage from the broadcast. Some political figures labeled the performance as emblematic of what they called a woke shift in entertainment, choosing instead to highlight alternative programming or separate events that emphasize more traditional or patriotic themes. Logan Paul, Jake's brother and fellow influencer, also weighed in, though in a notably simpler way. When asked whether he was excited to watch the halftime show, Logan's answer was a blunt no. His response lacked the frank vitriol of his brother's statements, but still reflected a broader disinterest among segments of the public who opposed the choice of performer or the direction the event seemed to be taking. Yet for all the criticism, many others saw the controversy as largely performative, a manifestation of culture wars that swirl around major pop culture moments in the internet age. For millions of viewers, the halftime show was exactly what it was meant to be, a vibrant celebration of music, dance, and cultural expression. Bad Bunny's performance, which embraced elements of Latin culture, color, and rhythm, was interpreted by many as a joyful and inclusive spectacle that resonated across linguistic and cultural boundaries. Rather than being divisive, his presentation was embraced by a global audience who saw in it a genuine expression of artistic identity and multicultural celebration. The reactions on social media were equally varied. Some critics echoed Paul's sentiments, claiming that they could not relate to a performance conducted primarily in Spanish, or that the choice of performer didn't align with their idea of tradition or American spectacle. Others, however, celebrated the performance as a watershed moment in the Super Bowl's long history. Many comments underscored the idea that America, and indeed the global entertainment landscape, is far broader and more diverse than a narrow definition would allow. For these fans, seeing a Spanish-language artist headline the halftime show was a sign of growing inclusivity and recognition of music's global evolution. Even within these debates, some observers noted that the backlash said as much about broader social anxieties as it did about any individual performer. The Super Bowl halftime show has always been a barometer of cultural change, a place where society's evolving tastes, values, and conflict play out on a massive, live broadcast platform. In years past, performers from different genres and backgrounds have stirred conversation, controversy, or praise. In each case, the reactions illuminate not just preferences but deep-seated questions about identity, belonging, and cultural ownership. Bad Bunny himself, aware of the spotlight and the controversy surrounding his selection, sought to emphasize unity and celebration. Rather than leaning into political rhetoric, he chose to frame his performance as an expression of joy, cultural pride, and togetherness. His stage presence and messages reflected an intent to bring people together in celebration of music rather than division, a message that resonated with many who view the performance not as a political statement, but as an artistic expression. The differing reactions to Jake Paul's remarks and the performance itself highlight a modern truth about major cultural events. They are never experienced in isolation. In an era where entertainment, politics, and personal identity intersect in complex ways, even a music performance can become a focal point for debates about national identity, cultural representation, and media influence. What one person sees as a meaningful cultural moment, another can see as a departure from tradition. In this sense, the Super Bowl halftime show becomes less about the game and more about what society chooses to celebrate, and why.